Okay, welcome to the Activate Doors podcast. We're down at the Baxters Loch Ness Marathon and Festival of Running. I've just done the 5k with the children, so we're all enthusiastic about it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Show some enthusiasm then.
Yeah.
Oh my word, that's quite deafening. That's a scary introduction. So we're just waiting on their mummy finishing the marathon. She should be due in about 10 minutes or so, maybe even quicker if we're lucky. But before that, I have been speaking to the former Chief Exec of the Cairngorms National Park Authority, Duncan Bryden, about a project down at Tomatin to revamp the community hall and made an access map to show some nice routes in the area. Yes, conkers do grow trees, mate, yeah. So first we'll hear from Duncan Bryden. Okay, so we're just at the Strathdearn, which is the kind of community hub here in Tomatin, with Duncan Bryden, who was a former director who kind of helped set this up. But understand you're not directly involved at the minute, are you, Duncan?
Yeah, I've taken a little bit of a pause. It's been a very busy time getting it to this stage, and we're busy consolidating at the moment.
So can you tell us a bit about what the hub is and who it's used by and what its purpose was in setting it up originally?
Yeah, the idea was to create a focus in the Strath that people could use. We needed a new village hall, so that facility is there. There was also an opportunity to relocate the village shop and add in a cafe that delivered some additional revenue and attracted in some visitors. We've got the well-known Tomatin distillery just up the road, and visitors were coming to that, and a lot of people are coming into the area for a whole range of activities: cycling, walking, field sports, that sort of thing. So having a cafe made some sense.
Yeah, and I've just kind of cycled over the top from Inverness and stopped here for a coffee. And there's another crew of cyclists in there who sound like they're on the way to Inverness. So it's obviously a popular spot for people kind of stopping off while they're being active like that.
Well, absolutely, and we're on National Cycle Route 7, so we've got the Land's End John O'Groats enthusiasts coming through, and we've just put in some cycle counters, and we're looking at about 1,000 people a month coming through, so it's a fair number. A proportion of those are obviously, like you, John, coming from Inverness out for the day, and we're seeing a big growth. I think the coffee and cakes are a big attraction.
That's right, it's a kind of good sort of distance, 20-25 miles coming over that way from my side of Inverness, and I've got about the same to go back, so it's a good kind of distance to do to earn a coffee and a scone or something. So I guess we were just kind of looking. You've got a new map that's been developed showing a lot of kind of walks and bike routes in the area, so there's plenty to do from this point as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and it's a good base, either a start or a finish, with the coffee and cakes, and even a place to charge your electric vehicle if you have one. But yeah, John, you can do a lot of walking and cycling from here, and the map was intended to show people that there was something sitting in between Strathspey and Badenoch, down towards Aviemore and Inverness. It tends to be a place that people pass through on the A9. Most people will be aware of the Loch summit, and we're just sort of to the north of that. But there's a beautiful area alongside the River Findhorn, and those in the know will know that there's a road up the glen, which gives some really scenic views, wildlife and landscapes to enjoy, but it's also great for cycling and walking.
Yeah, there's a few tracks. We were just looking at the map in the cafe there, and there's a few tracks that I wasn't aware of that you can kind of link up and create some new routes with as well. So there's plenty of potential on the map, and even things that aren't on there, isn't there?
Well, absolutely, and the growth in wind farms has meant that a number of new tracks have appeared over the hills, and there are connections and a few places you maybe have to carry your bike if you're enthusiastic, but it does give you an opportunity to link up some of these routes and enjoy the moors of the Mona Lea, and make your way across this sort of superb bit of countryside.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was thinking on the way up the hill. Actually, you see the turn off for the Far Wind Farm and the tracks there, and the kind of craze for gravel biking has really taken off. And the gravel bikes they look like a road bike, but they've got slightly rougher tyres and better gearing for climbing, so they're almost like a mountain bike with drop handlebars and narrower tyres, so you get around a bit quicker, and that seems to be growing in popularity everywhere now.
I think so, yeah. I've got what they call an expedition bike, which is sort of, again, another version, and allows you to get a bit off-road with slightly chunkier tyres. But it's great for families and kids. The wind farm roads in particular are ideal for getting a bit of space, and the wind farms themselves are quite spectacular bits of engineering when you get up close and you see what they're capable of. And I think we will see more of these appearing. Not everybody's cup of tea, but in terms of the climate emergency we're facing, I think renewable energy is probably the way forward. But they do allow you to get into these places that you might not have gone before.
Yeah, I've certainly found that when I've kind of biked through the wind farms, you probably just wouldn't have visited some of these places without that. So there is some benefit, as you said. Not everyone's cup of tea, but they're with us to stay now, I think, aren't they? So
I think they are, and if you link them up with forest roads and some of the more traditional sort of hill tracks which have been there for centuries, you get this wonderful network that we enjoy in the Highlands. And as long as everybody's sensible and responsible and do what needs to be done in terms of leaving no trace and respecting other users, they're just such a fantastic resource, and our area is so accessible from Inverness and also a bit away from the hustle and bustle perhaps of the Cairngorms that many people will be familiar with.
Yeah, we were just chatting about some of the walks we can see from the outside of the kind of the village hall, which seems a kind of small word for what you've got here. It's a massive building with kind of conference rooms and badminton court and cafe and everything. But we're looking out and you can see over the railway bridge and beyond it the kind of A9 going over the Fintone there. It's quite a spectacular viewpoint as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the cafe is becoming very, very popular, Three Bridges Cafe, but it looks out across some very grand Victorian engineering, which is still very much in use today. And Strathdearn was traditionally a through route as people moved north and south. The A9 is how most people know it today, but the Highland Railway and now National Cycle Route 7. But prior to that, the drovers came through here, General Wade with his military roads came through here. So the history and the culture of the area is really quite special, and there's an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about that. And we've touched on a bit of that along with the wildlife in the new map that you mentioned earlier, John.
Yeah, that's right. And do you have a kind of a personal favourite route around here, because you're obviously kind of local to the area?
Yeah, I think heading over the hill, the variety of routes down into Strathspey. I'm always pleased to go over the Loch, and there's a range of options there that takes you down into the Dalnan and then round to Aviemore even if you want to. It gives you a great sort of opportunity to stop at a few other coffee shops along the way.
Excellent. And you mentioned kind of infrastructure and responsible access earlier, and it kind of takes us on a little bit to your kind of job, I suppose, in some of the other areas. You've been doing some work on Skye, I believe.
Yeah, I mean my day job, if you like, is as a consultant, but I'm also a director of the Outdoor Access Trust, and we've been working in some of the more popular hotspots, primarily at the moment in the fairy pools in Skye, and have invested substantially, over £800,000 in terms of creating a new car park and toilets there, in a site that's become very much a sort of visitor attraction in its own right. It's not a walk up a hill, it's a walk to a set of waterfalls, and it's about managing it for the visitors that are going to come and for the benefit of the community who are under quite a bit of stress and strain of the sort that we're seeing in a few locations around the North Coast 500. And my interest is ensuring that there's sort of good planning and a good set of skills locally, so that we get a lasting solution to some of the challenges, and making the best of the opportunities that these routes and sites are presenting.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue that's been kind of going, like you said, around the North Coast 500. There's so much work needs to be done on infrastructure all around there, I suppose, and there's a lot of work ahead if we're going to get everything up to that sort of standard.
Well, absolutely, and I think maybe people slightly underestimate the amount of work of putting in a a car park and a toilet, and then servicing it and fixing the paths, and doing the ongoing maintenance in a series of remote sites. It's not something one can do overnight. You need to get the necessary permissions in place. You also need to ensure that the effluent that you're discharging from your toilet is up to the highest quality, and that takes a bit of money and investment. And I think the tourism industry is sort of realising that these natural attractions are very much the way forward in this sort of post-COVID time, that the outdoors will become a real attraction. They always were, but I think even moving into the future they'll become even more of an attraction, and linked to health and well-being and biodiversity. There's some massive opportunities, but they do need a bit of TLC, and we do need to invest in maintenance in the future. We need to put something aside to ensure that these places stay as good as they are for future generations.
Okay, welcome back to the Baxters Loch Ness Marathon. That was Duncan Bryden we just heard from, and we're just going to see how the marathon runners are getting on now. Quite a few of them coming in. You can hear the cheers at the finish. I'm sure the sports guys will be going over the results in their podcast, but we're just going to take a look at some of the slightly slower runners, although still pretty quick, coming in at 3.5 to 4 hours. So, Meg finished the Loch Ness Marathon in 3 hours 49 minutes this year, and here she is shortly after crossing the line, with eldest daughter Clara starting the questioning.
How are you feeling?
Oh, very tired
Okay.
and a bit sick, but very proud.
Okay.
Do you want to say well done
Well done.
into there?
Well done.
What do you think of all these people running 26.2 miles?
Crazy.
How far did you run?
5k.
And was it super easy?
Yeah.
Was it? So we'll do 10k next time, yeah?
If I'm allowed to enter. I'm not doing 10k. I need to X-rays. If I'm allowed to enter, I don't know if I'm allowed to enter.
Yeah, you might need to be a bit older yet. And then you can do the marathon when you're nearly as old as Mummy.
Okay. Not Mummy.
It was a beautiful morning when we set off. It was a wee bit rainy on the way down, but the sun came out and the rainbow shone overhead just as we were leaving. Yeah.
Very nice.
Ooh, we had a few showers on the route. It was a nice tailwind most of the way till the last kind of half a mile,
I did think that
which was a bit brutal.
when you turn over the bridge, it kind of changed a little bit.
A bit brutal. I find it a bit tougher this year. Maybe not quite as fit. But I still enjoyed it. It was good. Really nice support along the way. There's people out at Whitebridge, Foyers, Inverfaragig. And it's lovely when you get to Inverness.
And doors.
And doors.
I have a question.
Go on, sorry, I've got it.
Where do you go?
So it starts above Whitebridge, and you go down into Whitebridge and then Foyers, Inverfaragig, doors, up past Aldari School to Scannyport. But as usual, the last couple of miles is the toughest. You can see the finish line, you can hear the finish line, but you've still got a long way to go.
I should just say Meg's trying to speak here and she's having 5k medals shoved in her face from small people.
No rainbow.
Because they did an old big run as well.
No broken bones.
There's no broken bones. No broken bones.
Well, everybody say well done to Mummy.
Well done, Mummy! Well done, Mum.
Thank you.
You did very well.
Oh, thank you.
Well done, Mum.
That's it from the Activate Doors podcast this time. As usual, we'll continue to bring you our regular features each week in our Highland News and Media newspapers, websites, and also on our new H&M app. follow us at hnmedia.co.uk/activeoutdoors, and you can contact us on activeoutdoors@hnmedia.co.uk. I'll be back soon with another podcast recorded out and about across the Highlands. Thanks for listening, and please share and subscribe to Active Outdoors.